Hi everyone. Right, we're going to try again and see if we can get Will himself, which is very exciting. It's actually World Vasectomy Day today, so hopefully Will will be able to join us. I think he was actually there. Oh my God, Will's here! Yay!
Just rely on Apple to do it properly. Don't use Android.
Right, hi Will. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
How's lockdown 2.0?
Yeah, as miserable as Lockdown 1.0, except it's a bit darker and a bit colder now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, Will, the reason I've hauled you away from your Friday evening dinner is I want to talk to you about getting a vasectomy.
You can't do it. It's not for you.
No. Yeah, so it's World Vasectomy Day, and I know that you've recently had one done. So, yeah, well, maybe you could tell us a bit about why you decided to get one and what it was like.
So I guess my wife and I have been talking about it for probably over a year. Obviously, when I met my wife, she was on the pill, and that had some miserable side effects for her, hormonal things, feeling low, lack of energy, stuff like that. So we agreed it wasn't really fair for her to always have to carry the load. So we went on to condoms for quite a long time, but I'm not 100%, what's the word? I don't remember it all the time. So, occasionally we'd be on a weekend or something and be like, oh, fuck, I've forgotten condoms. And sometimes, you'd be able to go and get them and sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Also, they're a bit minging. So, they're practical, but they're not the most romantic thing. And getting rid of them is also minging. So anyway, they work, but they're not the nicest thing. So yeah, we said, look, from day one when we met, we talked about sort of the future and kids. Well, not from day one, but fine, when we realized we were going to stick around for a bit. So we were both very clear that we didn't want kids, so that kind of took that out of the equation. So it was on the cards from a reasonably early stage, I guess. And I'm now 39. And I guess pretty much actually when I kind of turned 39, or as I was turning 39, I said to my wife, right, okay, I'm going to do it now because, I should have done this a couple of years ago, probably, getting to the age where, I don't want any surprises, frankly, in that regard. And just going to kind of get on with it.
It's great that you, I guess, wanted to sort of share the contraceptive burden with your wife, which is, yeah, what do you think about women being on the pill and for that long and the kind of side effects that she went through?
Well, I mean, I don't know probably as much as you, or indeed probably most women do, except what my, previous, girlfriends and wife have told me, that it can have serious side effects. And I think even doctor's advice is not to be on it for a long time. Which is why I guess you have to get it prescribed again after a while. So yeah, it just doesn't seem like the sort of thing you should be on permanently. It's not a permanent solution.
And our very amazing resident GP, Fran's asking, did your doctor have any issues with referring you to get a vasectomy because you don't have kids?
No, so obviously being sort of middle class, I'd sort of looked up online sort of usual issues and hang-ups, and one of them was absolutely, if you haven't had kids, the doctor will ask that. So I just said, I'm married, I'm 30, I was 38 when I went for the consultation. I said, we've talked about it, we don't want kids. And there was not a blink really to it. He was like, fine. I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm guessing, as I say, the age I am and the fact that I'm married, and at least I claimed I talked about it with my wife, they're not going to sort of say, we're going to have to get your wife in and interview her separately and, get a sworn affidavit.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. I wonder if a woman would find it that hard to get sterilised, but yeah.
I hope not, but, who knows?
Yeah. If anyone who's joining us, we're talking to Will. He's had a vasectomy. It's World Vasectomy Day. If you've got any nosy questions about the process or what it's like to have done, then please put them in the chat. Cool. Okay, so you went to the doctor. That was quite straightforward. And then Were you on a waiting list for a long time?
So it wasn't quite a case of going to the doctor. Sadly, although vasectomy is free in most of the UK, it's not free where I live. So it's done by region, by commissioning group. And where I am, they've decided to not make it free, which I'm quite upset about, but that's the way it is. And that probably stopped me getting it for at least 6 months, because I thought, well, maybe they'll change their mind. They've only recently stopped doing it for free. Anyway, so eventually I bit the bullet and paid. So it happened quickly because it was private.
Yeah.
But it wasn't through the NHS. It wasn't through a GP. It was through a doctor, but a doctor who was doing it sort of out of hours, if you like.
Yeah. Fran's asking where you live.
Yeah, I live in Oxford.
Yeah.
Don't live in Oxford if you want a vasectomy.
Okay, so you went private. Do you mind us asking how much it cost?
No, of course. It was 150 quid for the consultation. And I've because I had to remind myself this was almost a year ago now. So it was 150 quid for the consultation, and then after the operation it was another 450, and that from what I've looked at, that's pretty much standard.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, anyone who's joining, we're talking to Will. He's recently had a vasectomy, and do you want to tell us a bit about what it was like going into hospital and actually having the op done?
So like a lot of what they call minor surgery now, it wasn't done in hospital. So the doctor saw me in basically an office for the consultation to check, as someone else asked, are you sure about this? Do you have kids? Do you want kids? Blah, blah, blah. That was all just like box ticking, and actually got me naked and had a look at my bits to do like the physical exam and make sure they, that they were appropriate. God knows, what they look for, but he said, yes, I could do it. But then the actual procedure itself was done out of hours in a GP surgery, and I'm guessing what a lot of private practices do is they just hire a GP room for the evening. So that was quite nice, because a hospital feels quite institutional. You feel a bit like a patient. It's a bit more of an intake of breath going into a hospital, but this was just dropping in as if you're going to see a GP.
Wow. And did you go to sleep? I know, I always forget which one's general.
No, I won't lie, it was a little bit painful. I did not sleep. You mean, did they put me to sleep?
Did they put you to sleep?
No, they did not. No, not by my singing.
You're awake.
Yeah. And apparently that's fairly standard, yeah. I mean, GA is not good for you, and it's more complicated and it's more expensive. So they prefer not to do it if they don't have to. You'd be amazed what they do with local. But anyway, yeah, they just put me under local. I couldn't see it, thankfully. I think that would have made me slightly queasy.
Yeah.
But
so did you have like a screen up?
No, but it's kind of underneath a bit, so you can't quite see. I mean, if you want a real anatomy lesson, it's beneath the ball sac, sort of around the perineum kind of area.
Oh, you're right. You're in a bit.
Yeah, it's sort of right where the ball sac meets the sort of the skin, or the perineum. So you can't really see it. Your bits are in the way, kind of thing. So yeah. I mean, I can go into more gory detail if you like, because I remember now some of the sights and smells. But
does anyone want gory detail? If you want gory detail on what it's like to have a vasectomy done, please wave or do something. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just skirt past.
No, we'll skirt over it. Exactly.
No, I don't want to skirt. I want gory detail.
But yeah, it was probably no more than 10 minutes.
Wow, that's so quick.
Yep. Yeah, and he just chatted to me the whole time, because I guess he's trying to calm you down and all that. Yeah. But when he makes the actual cut, if there are any guys here, he did say, "Now I'm just going to make the first cut, and it's a bit like being kicked in the balls." And he was exactly right. That was exactly what it was like. So obviously I'm under local, so I can't really feel it, but nonetheless, when he makes that cut, you can feel it, and yeah.
Wow.
It was fine. It was like a sharp intake of breath.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of like the female equivalent of getting like the whole thing from going in and leaving. How long do you reckon it was?
like with a little bit of pre-chat and then a little bit of you all right? Can you stand up?
Yeah.
Probably 20 minutes at most, probably 15.
So this is mind blowing. I always thought vasectomy was like a night in a hospital, you know, local anaesthetic, you know, just proper patient. Like that is basically like getting an IUD fitted for a woman, probably with a similar amount of pain because, you know, we've got something going for our cervix, but you've got maybe a kick in the balls feeling. I can imagine they're maybe quite equal in terms of pain or discomfort.
Well, having had a partner who had an IUD, actually, I think they were in a lot more pain than I was from my vasectomy.
Yeah, really. This is like blowing my mind. Okay, so they check you all right. Was everything numb down there for a while?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If anyone's ever had local, it's just like that. It's numb. In a funny way, I guess that's part of the risk. So, not that you have asked, but if you wanted to move on to sort of, you know, the risks and all that kind of gubbins, they say, the guy said to me afterwards, basically with any kind of surgery, you kind of want to isolate movement and all the rest of it in the area you've acted on. And it's quite hard to isolate movement down there. You know, you can't put a sling on it or anything like that. So they say, like, wear tight fitting underwear and try not to move around, like try and stay still. So I had it on a Thursday, and where I was doing it, they said, we always do it on a Thursday, and we asked them to take the Friday off, and then nothing over the weekend. So you've got a clear 3 days of basically feet up. And it's not so much because you're in agony, it's because to get the best results long term, you want to, you know, not be moving it around and give it a chance to heal.
Wow.
So it was numb, but once the local started wearing off, yeah, it just felt like the aftermath of being kicked in the balls, to be honest. Yeah, it was like, you know, someone had given you a really good punch.
Oh, and then how long did that soreness last for?
Probably a couple of days.
Okay. And did
really
you
was very similar to, like playing football and being kicked where you don't want to be kicked.
Did you take any pain relief?
I didn't, but I'm sure you could if you wanted to. The main thing I remember, as I say, that they were like, try not to walk around or do anything, which is, I suspect a lot of people are like this. When you don't feel ill, it's quite hard to act like an invalid. So yeah, you know, your balls hurt a bit, but you know, it's not the first time that's happened to most guys. So you're like, well, you know, I can still cope. But my doctor, they like write you a note saying you can't go to work for a few days, and you shouldn't. I mean, they were saying like you shouldn't get up, you shouldn't go and make a cup of tea for the first 24 hours. And I was like, but I can definitely do that. And they said you definitely can, but in order to make sure or give yourself the best chance of like not having complications after, best not to.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. And I'm quite a keen cyclist. That's kind of my form of exercise. And so my main question to the doc was, well, how soon before I can get back on a saddle? So being sort of, you know, pressing on the exact bits, they kind of said 2 weeks is probably a safe bet. Okay. So you just have to be a bit careful for a week or two after. And, you know, it was sore for a good week. Like walking was a little bit awkward.
Yeah. And Fran's talking about semen samples. What's the deal with that?
So after, I think it was 10 or 12 weeks, you go and get a semen sample. And again, it doesn't have to be at a hospital. Mine was at a local clinic type thing. You know, you have your fun, and then you give them the test tube, and they go away and give you the results. And mine was clear, so that was that.
Great.
Happy days. And
is it the same as it was before?
Yeah. So I was slightly worried because for about, I'd say a month after, certainly 2 weeks, maybe a month. So after a week, you know, walking around, everything felt fine. But I'd say for about 2 weeks to a month after, just trying to remember exactly, certain things like tweaked or felt just a little bit off. I wouldn't say pain, that's overdoing it, but felt a bit off. Like sometimes going for a wee, sometimes having sex.
Yeah.
but it calmed down just like they said it would. After a month, like I couldn't feel any different.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been 9 months, 8 months now, and it feels completely normal.
That's great. So you're happy with it? It was the right thing for you,
Oh God.
and this, yeah.
So I've talked to a few friends and my brother about it. My brother's a couple of years older than me, and all of them have said the same things. Like, yeah, we'd really like to do it. We're just a bit worried because they've seen like the stats, and you know, everyone watching this can go and find the stats, but it's apparently 1 in 1,000, I think, it doesn't work. But you can then have, you know, a second round, I guess, and something like 1 in 10, I think, report pain going on beyond the normal amount, which I think is like 2 weeks, or maybe it's a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, the doc said to me, and this this is all taken on trust. Can't find any evidence behind it. He said the majority of the people who say they get pain later on, it's because they've not rested properly. They've not, you know, put their feet up for a couple of days. They've tried to get back on the wagon too soon. So I took that kind of seriously.
Yeah.
Been lucky, or he was right.
Yeah. That is absolutely amazing. I did not realize it was like under general and not in a hospital, or, you know, doesn't have to be in a hospital.
No, very quick and easy, really.
Amazing. Well, if anyone's watching and thinks, oh, you know, maybe I'll persuade my partner to have a vasectomy, they should hopefully show their partner this video and reassure them that it can be okay and it's not a bad thing.
I mean, I would have done. I wish I'd done it sooner. To be honest, it's not just, you know, this is responsible. It's nicer. Condoms suck, you know, and having to take hormone suppressing drugs sucks.
Yeah.
Having an IUD that causes you pain sucks, and vasectomy doesn't hurt. I mean, you know, it hurts at the time. It doesn't hurt long term. It's just obvious, really. So why not just do it, and then you never have to worry about contraception ever again.
Did you ask about reversing it ever? I know that they sometimes can, but it really is irreversible, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen a few comments on that. So all I know is what I've read, which is it can be done. And they say, you know, you shouldn't think of it as reversible. But as I say, that was sort of a conversation me and my wife had fairly early doors, and never been really anything that we've been on the fence about. So it's not an issue for us.
Yeah. Petra says, Will is a keeper. He really is. Well, thank you, Will. Really appreciate you sharing your experience with us.
No, happy to. I think we can talk about this stuff more.
Oh, that's what we're all about, Will. Have a lovely evening. Oh, we've got a question. Did they use a scalpel or non-scalpel technique?
They used the non-scalpel, apparently. But again, like I said, I couldn't see it. But he said it was like a lasery thing. And it was hot. Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel the heat, but like I said, if you want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, you could, like, you know, smell the singeing of the flesh.
Oh! Did you ever think, that's the smell of a burning ball bag?
Basically, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I also thought, you know, it's working. You know, you don't want it to not be sealing as they go, do you? So I was like, yep, that's fine. I'm not going to be bleeding out on a table.
Is that what they're doing? They're sealing the tubes, and
exactly. The heat seal sterilizes it, so it's much better that way. So,
do you know where they actually seal, or can you just talk us through the mechanics a bit more? They are sealing tubes.
So there's 2 tubes called the differends, and they, I mean, God, GCSE biology here. I don't know. They come up sort of from the bottom of the ball bag and up into the penis, and they cut them where the ball bag joins sort of the perineum. Just go straight across them.
Right.
And that's where the pain was located, because that's where they did the surgery.
Wow. So they snip in, they singe, they seal, and then they did you have stitches?
That's a very good question. Did I have stitches? No, I didn't. I mean, it was a tiny incision. That doesn't help describe it. It was tiny. It was a tiny incision. So no, I think they put like a steri strip or a plaster over it. You know, it was.
Yeah.
In fact, they did. I remember they put a steri strip over it and then told me to replace it after a day, which I did. And I think I could wash after like 2 days or something. So no, it's really minor invasive.
Wow. Amazing. Well, if anyone's got any more questions, please dump them in the chat. But if not, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Will, for your time. Have a lovely evening. And yeah, thank you for your time.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.